Have you ever felt as though your words fall on deaf ears, as if your voice is simply lost in the chaos of the world around you? It can be a painful experience to speak truth, offer wisdom, or share your heart, only to be met with silence, dismissal, or rejection. But let me tell you this: the season of being ignored will eventually give way to a season of recognition. Just as we see in the lives of many biblical figures, rejection does not equate to defeat. It is often a precursor to something greater. Think of the prophets like Jeremiah, Noah, and even Jesus himself. Each faced periods of intense rejection, their words ignored, and their messages dismissed. Yet these same individuals eventually saw the full manifestation of their divine calling. In their darkest moments, when it seemed like no one was listening, they were actually being prepared for the moment when their words would be sought after and their authority would become undeniable. You too are walking a similar path. There may be times when you feel invisible, when people brush aside the truth you speak or fail to recognize the power in your voice. But don't be discouraged. This is not a sign of failure. It is simply part of the process. Your words carry weight, a weight that not everyone is ready to comprehend just yet. Some may not understand now, but there will come a time when they will remember what you said, when your words will prove to be true, and your authority will be recognized. Think about the prophecies and warnings you have given. Perhaps they were ignored or laughed at when you first spoke them. But trust me, those words will come to fruition. The seeds you have planted through your encouragement, guidance, and insight will eventually bear fruit. Whether it's months or years down the road, there will be a moment when people will look back and realize that you were right all along. They will come to you and say, "I wish I had listened." And when that time comes, it will not be for your glory, but for God's. It will be a moment of divine vindication, a powerful testimony of the truth you carried all along. A shift is coming. The time will come when your words will no longer be ignored. Your voice will be heard, your authority recognized, and your wisdom sought after. This period of silence and rejection is merely preparing you for that moment of breakthrough where you will be placed in the right spaces and given the platform you deserve. You are being shaped, refined, and positioned for this divine moment. It is not a question of if, but when. Remember, you are not alone in this. Many who walked the path of rejection before you found their moment of vindication. Just as God moved through them, He will move through you. The waiting may feel long, but take heart, for God's timing is perfect. He will ensure that your voice is heard at the right time, by the right people, and in the right way. So I declare over you today, your voice will not remain hidden forever. A time of recognition is coming, and when it arrives, it will be undeniable. Keep speaking the truth, keep walking in obedience, and keep trusting that your words are not wasted. They will accomplish their divine purpose. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to like this video and leave a comment below. Let us know how God is working in your life, and share your thoughts on the power of your words. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated with more prophetic words and encouragement. Tap the bell icon to ensure you never miss a message. When you speak, you are not just sharing thoughts or opinions, you are channeling something far greater, a divine force. Your words carry the essence of God's wisdom and truth, often with more power than you realize. They transcend the surface level of conversation, reaching deep into the hearts and spirits of those who hear them. This divine nature embedded in your speech is what gives your words their true power, the power to heal, transform, convict, and guide. At the core of who you are, you've been anointed with divine authority. This authority is not born from human knowledge or intellect. It comes directly from your calling as a vessel of God's will. When you speak in alignment with God's purpose for your life, your voice resonates with a weight that others may not always fully understand. But its impact is undeniable. This divine authority allows your words to carry more than just information. They are vessels of spiritual truth. Every word you speak can carry profound meaning, shaping the world around you in ways both seen and unseen. You are speaking not from your own wisdom, but from the wellspring of God's eternal wisdom. Even when you may not fully grasp the depth of what you are saying, you are being used to communicate truths that go beyond human comprehension. When you speak, you are not just conveying ideas, you are manifesting God's will on earth. Your voice, though it may sound like mere human speech, is carrying divine messages into the hearts of those who are ready to hear them. And even if some may not fully understand or accept what you say in the moment, the power of your words doesn't diminish. God's truth will always have its impact, even if it takes time to be recognized. This is why it is crucial to recognize the weight of your words. They are far more than simple expressions of thought. They are tools of divine transformation. When you speak with the intent to share God's truth, your words have the potential to change lives, to awaken spirits, and to guide others along their own path of faith. Your words carry a weight that is eternal, not bound by the fleeting nature of human understanding. Embrace the power that lies within you. Understand that your voice, empowered by God's Spirit, has the potential to reach and change the world in ways you may not even fully comprehend. So speak with confidence, knowing that the truth you carry is not only for you to hear, it's for the world to receive. The weight of your words stems from the fact that they are more than just spoken sounds. When you speak, you release something far greater than yourself, something that has been imparted to you by the Creator. These are not mere opinions or fleeting thoughts, but divine revelations that have the potential to shift atmospheres, change hearts, and lead others into deeper truths. Consider the way the prophets of old spoke: Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Isaiah. Their words were not of their own making, but were channels through which God communicated directly to His people. Likewise, when you speak, you are carrying a piece of the divine into the world. This is why your words are powerful. They contain wisdom that has the ability to change lives, to heal wounds, and to speak directly into situations. They come with a divine purpose and an eternal weight that cannot be measured by earthly standards. Unlike ordinary speech, your voice is not just heard by the ears of those around you. It speaks to their very spirit. When you open your mouth, your words carry the breath of the divine. They echo not just in the minds of your listeners, but deep within their spirits. And while the natural world may listen to your words, it is the spiritual world that truly feels the power behind them. This spiritual nature of your voice is what sets you apart. Your words are not confined to the physical realm. They transcend it. They invite others to tap into a higher level of understanding, a realm that only those attuned to the Spirit can fully access. It's as if every word you speak is an invitation for someone to rise above their earthly limitations and into divine wisdom. But not everyone is ready for such an invitation. Many may hear your words, but only a few will be able to receive them in the Spirit. For those who are not spiritually attuned, your voice may seem like a whisper in the wind, something they can't grasp or understand. However, for those whose hearts and minds are aligned with God's will, your words will cut deep, awakening them to truth, healing their souls, and convicting them to act in faith. The depth of your words is often too much for some to handle. While you may speak with clarity and conviction, others may dismiss your message simply because they are not equipped to understand it. Their lack of understanding is not a reflection of the value of your words, but rather an indication of their own spiritual maturity or lack thereof. This spiritual disconnect can be frustrating, especially when you know that the wisdom you carry is divine. You may speak truth, but some will dismiss it as mere opinion or fantasy. They may ignore the weight of what you're saying because it confronts their worldview, challenges their belief systems, or calls them to a higher standard. Jesus himself faced this struggle. Despite his divine authority, many people could not comprehend the full meaning of his words. They saw him as a carpenter's son, not as the Messiah. They were spiritually blind to the truth he spoke. Similarly, many today will hear your voice, but will not grasp the depth of the message you are delivering because they are still bound to the natural, not the spiritual. Their inability to comprehend your words doesn't diminish their importance. It simply highlights the gap between spiritual awareness and worldly perception. Truth, particularly divine truth, holds an incredible weight. It carries a force that can unsettle, disturb, and challenge the very foundations of the world people have built for themselves. When you speak truth, especially God's truth, you are not merely sharing information. You are confronting people with reality, the reality of their beliefs, their actions, and their understanding of the world. Your words demand a response, and that response often involves change. It calls for transformation for people to see the world themselves and their relationship with God in a new light. This is why truth can be so intimidating. To some, it challenges the status quo and demands that things be different. When you speak the truth, you are not just passing on knowledge. You are speaking the very heart of God's revelation, and that kind of truth has a profound impact. It doesn't just sit idly. It moves, it shakes, it stirs. It's a kind of truth that isn't easily processed, especially by those who are not prepared to hear it. It's a truth that for some can feel overwhelming, uncomfortable, and even dangerous because it exposes the hidden things of the heart and forces people to confront aspects of their lives that they may not be ready to face. This is why truth can often be met with resistance. It's why, even when you speak with kindness and love, your words may be rejected or ignored. It's easier for people to dismiss or ignore what you say than it is to confront the truth you are speaking. Confronting the truth requires humility, and for many, it means admitting that their current beliefs or actions are wrong. It requires change, and change can be intimidating. So when faced with the weight of your words, it's not uncommon for people to try to push them away, to refuse to hear them, or to try to diminish their power. But here's the important truth. The rejection or resistance you face does not diminish the weight of the truth you speak. The power of God's truth is not dependent on how it is received. Whether your words are accepted or ignored, the truth remains powerful, and the force behind your words does not lose its strength. Your words carry an eternal weight that transcends human rejection, resistance, or misunderstanding. It's a weight that goes far beyond what people can comprehend or even accept in the moment. And even if they do not recognize it immediately, the power behind your words is still working in the spiritual realm, planting seeds and preparing hearts for transformation. What you speak is not just a message, it's a spiritual force. Your words are more than just a vehicle for communication. They are a means of releasing God's power into the atmosphere. Every time you speak the truth, you are unleashing a spiritual energy that has the power to break chains, open eyes, heal broken hearts, and shift the very atmosphere around you. This is the nature of divine truth. It doesn't just inform, it transforms. It doesn't simply stay on the surface. It penetrates deep into the hearts and souls of those who hear it. Even when people do not immediately recognize it, your words are at work. They are not limited to the immediate response or lack thereof that you might see. Your words are working in the spiritual realm, stirring things that you cannot always perceive. You may speak and not see the change right away, but that doesn't mean your words are ineffective. The power of truth works in unseen ways, breaking down walls, stirring the heart, convicting the spirit long after your words have left your lips. This is why sometimes the more powerful your words are, the more resistance they will face. It's not because the truth is lacking. It's because the truth has a spiritual force that others may find difficult to accept. Your words can stir something deep inside people, something they cannot always articulate, but something they feel nonetheless. They may feel uncomfortable, defensive, or even angry in response to your words, but all the while something is happening inside of them. They are being moved. And even though they may reject your message outwardly, your words are still planting seeds in their hearts. They are creating ripples in their spirits, whether they acknowledge it or not. This resistance is not a reflection of the inadequacy of your words, it is a sign of their power. When truth is resisted, it often means it is being heard on a deeper level. The heart is being stirred, and the spirit is being moved. The truth you speak challenges people to change, and the discomfort they feel is often the first sign that they are being confronted with something greater than their own understanding. This is why some of the most powerful words are the ones that are resisted the most. Just like a seed that is planted in the ground, your words may seem to disappear for a time. But even if they seem to vanish, they are still working beneath the surface. The truth you speak is like a seed being buried in the soil. It doesn't immediately spring to life, but it's growing, it's being nurtured, and it's preparing to bear fruit. The seed needs time to take root, to break through the hard ground, and to emerge into something beautiful. And so it is with your words. They may seem to disappear or be ignored in the moment, but in God's perfect timing, they will spring to life. In fact, sometimes the most powerful impact of your words is not seen immediately. It may take time for people to reflect on what you've said and to fully grasp the depth of the truth you've shared. But in the right season, when their hearts are ready, those words will bloom into a harvest of understanding, transformation, and growth. The seed of truth you plant today may not bear fruit tomorrow, but it will eventually take root in the hearts of those who are prepared to receive it. Even though you may not always see the immediate results of your words, you can trust that God is at work. Every word you speak is a seed that will grow in the hearts of those who are ready to receive it. And just like a tree grows and bears fruit in its own time, your words will bear fruit in the right season. One of the most difficult aspects of speaking the truth is the waiting. It can be discouraging to speak with all your heart and see no immediate change in the people around you. It can be frustrating to share God's wisdom and feel like it falls on deaf ears. But you must remember, the truth you speak is not bound by time. The truth is eternal, and it will continue to work long after you've spoken it. It's important to trust in God's timing. He knows when the hearts of others are ready to hear what you have to say. Sometimes people are simply not in a place to receive the truth. They may be distracted, resistant, or unwilling to accept what you are saying because it challenges their worldview or their comfort zone. But that does not mean your words are without power. God's timing is perfect, and when the moment is right, your words will be received in a way that will bring about transformation. Think of a farmer planting seeds. The seeds don't sprout the moment they are planted. They need time to grow, to be nourished by the soil, the water, and the sun. But when the time is right, the farmer will see the fruits of his labor. The same is true for your words. Trust that God is nurturing the seeds you've planted, and in the right season, those words will spring forth and bring forth fruit in ways you cannot yet see. In 1 Corinthians 2:14, Paul explains, "The natural person does not accept the things of the Spirit of God, for they are folly to him, and he is not able to understand them because they are spiritually discerned." This verse highlights the challenge you face as a bearer of divine truth. The words you speak are spiritually discerned, meaning they are not easily understood by those who are still bound to the natural world. For the natural person, the wisdom of God may seem foolish or irrelevant. It's not that your words lack value, it's that they are meant to be understood through the lens of the Spirit, not through human intellect alone. As you speak, you are operating in a realm that others may not be able to access. The divine wisdom that flows through you is beyond the understanding of those who are not spiritually attuned. This is why even when you speak with clarity and conviction, some may still fail to grasp the depth of your message. But this is not a reflection of the truth of your words. It simply means that those who are still in the natural realm are unable to comprehend the spiritual truths you carry. The paradox of speaking spiritual truths is that the more profound your message, the more likely it is to be misunderstood or resisted. This has been true throughout history. Even Jesus, the very Word made flesh, faced rejection and misunderstanding. His teachings, which were full of divine wisdom, were dismissed by many because they could not see beyond the natural. Paul, too, experienced this disconnect between the spiritual and natural realms. The Corinthians struggled to understand the things of the Spirit because they were not spiritually mature enough to receive them. This paradox is part of the journey of speaking divine truths. Your message may be rejected, but that doesn't mean it is invalid. It simply means that the hearers are not yet spiritually ready to receive it. But as time passes and hearts open, the truth you've spoken will begin to take root. Even when your words are dismissed, they are not wasted. They will continue to work in the hearts and minds of those who have heard them. One day they will come to realize that what you spoke was true all along. And in that moment, you will know that the spiritual weight of your words had a purpose, one that transcended immediate understanding. Your words carry a divine weight that transcends human comprehension. They are not mere sounds or casual conversation. When you speak, you are releasing divine revelation that has the power to transform, heal, and convict. Not everyone is ready to understand or accept the wisdom you offer, but that does not diminish its value. Like the prophets of old, your words may be rejected or dismissed, but in time, they will prove to be true. Keep speaking, keep trusting in the power of your words, and know that in due time, their spiritual force will take root and bear fruit. Your words carry weight because you carry the divine authority of the Creator. It can be an incredibly painful experience speaking your truth, offering your wisdom, and sharing your heart, only to have your words dismissed, ignored, or rejected outright. It's a moment that many chosen ones face, standing firm in your calling, only to watch people turn away or misunderstand the deep truths you carry. But what if I told you that rejection is not a sign of failure? What if instead, rejection is a profound reflection of the depth of your spirit and the divine calling you carry? When you are rejected, it's not because you are insignificant. It's because you carry something of great significance. You are walking with a divine calling that others, whether intentionally or unintentionally, cannot yet comprehend. The deeper your spiritual calling, the more profound your words will become. And often, the deeper and more profound your words are, the more likely they are to be misunderstood. Rejection is not a reflection of your inadequacy or lack of worth. It is a reflection of the depth of what you bring into the world. People cannot reject what they don't understand, and they cannot grasp the wisdom that is outside of their experience or spiritual understanding. This is not a personal failing, nor is it a reason to shrink back or second-guess the authority with which you speak. Instead, rejection is a testament to the spiritual weight of your words. It means that what you carry is too heavy for those who are not yet attuned to the divine frequency you speak from. The deeper your connection to God, the deeper your understanding of the world becomes. As you walk closer to God, your words begin to reflect a level of divine wisdom that cannot be found in the natural world. You are no longer just speaking from experience or knowledge, but from revelation, a place that requires spiritual discernment to even begin to understand. This is why, when you speak, people who are still in the natural realm will often struggle to grasp the full significance of your words. When you share your insights, the wisdom God has revealed to you, others may feel the weight of it and not know how to respond. This weight, the spiritual depth of what you carry, often leads to resistance. It's not that your words are wrong or unworthy. On the contrary, they are too profound for them to bear. Those who are not spiritually attuned to what you are saying may reject it out of fear or ignorance, not because it lacks truth, but because they cannot fathom the spiritual depth from which it comes. This is a sacred space in which you find yourself. You are speaking the truth, but it is too heavy for others to carry, and so they reject it. Yet this rejection is not a reflection of your inadequacy. It's a reflection of the transformative power within you that those around you may not yet be ready to receive. When you are chosen, you are set apart. This is not a distinction for pride or self-glorification. It's simply the reality of your calling. And as one who is chosen, you must accept that the chosen are often misunderstood. The more spiritually attuned you are, the more likely you are to be misunderstood. Your words, your actions, your very presence often challenge the comfort zones of others, and this challenge leads to rejection. People generally reject what they don't understand. Your prophetic voice, your wisdom, your ability to see beyond the surface stirs up discomfort in those who are still bound by the natural, the visible, and the temporary. When you speak, you challenge their perception of the world and their pause in it. You challenge them to see beyond the earthly realm into the divine. This is a disruption, and disruptions often lead to resistance. It's a natural response when people are faced with something greater than they've ever known or understood. But understand this, your voice is meant to disrupt. It's meant to awaken those around you, to shake them out of complacency and comfort, to call them to something greater. Yet in doing so, you will often be misunderstood. People will dismiss you, belittle your wisdom, and accuse you of being out of touch or too idealistic. But in truth, you are speaking from a higher place, a place of divine insight, and that makes your words dangerous to the status quo. That is why rejection is often a sign that you are on the right path. You are being misunderstood not because you are wrong, but because you are challenging the limitations of others' understanding. Rejection can be discouraging. It's hard not to feel disheartened when the very truth you speak is rejected by those you wish to help. But what if this rejection was part of the process of your spiritual growth? What if rejection was actually a form of testing, a test of your resilience, your faith, and your commitment to your calling? Rejection builds resilience. Every time you are rejected, you are given the opportunity to strengthen your spiritual muscles. It is through these moments of rejection that you learn to stand firm in your calling, no matter the opposition. You learn to speak with boldness and courage even when no one is listening. This resilience is essential for the work you are called to do. Without it, you would falter at the first sign of adversity. But as you continue to face rejection and stand tall, you build a deeper understanding of who you are and why you are here. Rejection also strengthens your faith. Each time your words are dismissed, your faith is tested. Will you continue to speak truth even when it feels like no one is listening? Will you remain faithful to your divine assignment when it seems as though your message is falling on deaf ears? These tests are not meant to break you, but to mold you. They refine your faith and deepen your trust in God's plan for your life. You learn that your worth is not tied to the acceptance of others, but to your obedience to God's call. Without rejection, there would be no growth. It's the pressure of rejection that shapes your spiritual depth, making you more resilient and more committed to your divine purpose. Without these tests, you wouldn't know the full extent of your strength and calling. Rejection in this way is a catalyst for growth. It's a sign that you are being prepared for something greater. One of the most challenging aspects of facing rejection is the uncertainty surrounding timing. It can feel as though your words, your wisdom, and your insights are being ignored, and the silence can be deafening. When this happens, it's easy to question the value of your message and wonder why it isn't being heard. But in moments like these, it's essential to remember that God's timing far exceeds human understanding. His plan is always unfolding perfectly, even when we cannot see it. You may find yourself asking, "Why isn't anyone responding to what I'm saying?" Or, "Why do I keep sharing my truth when it feels like no one cares?" The reality is that God's timing often works outside of the limitations of human perception. There are times when people are simply not ready to receive what you have to offer. Their hearts and minds might still be closed, their circumstances not yet aligned to fully comprehend the depth of your message. But that doesn't mean your words lack value. Silence and rejection are not indicators of failure. They are part of a greater process at work. Just because people aren't responding now doesn't mean they never will. In fact, the silence you experience may be preparing both you and them for the right moment when everything will align perfectly. In God's perfect timing, your words will resonate with those around you in ways they couldn't understand before. The hearts of those you speak to will be softened, their minds will be opened, and they will be ready to hear the truth you have been sharing all along. The very message that feels overlooked today will have a profound impact in the future. And when that moment comes, you'll see that the wait was not in vain. It's hard to see this when you're in the midst of rejection. The waiting can feel unbearable, and it can be tempting to give up or stop speaking altogether. However, trust that this period of silence is not the end of your story, but part of the unfolding of God's divine plan. Just as a seed needs time to grow beneath the surface before it can bloom, your words need time to take root in the hearts of those who will receive them. Remember, you are not working on your own timeline. God is orchestrating everything according to His perfect will. And what seems like a delay or a rejection is often a season of preparation. In due time, your words will take root, and the fruit will be undeniable. So when you feel like your message is falling on deaf ears, take comfort in knowing that God is at work behind the scenes. Trust in His divine timing, and know that when the right moment comes, your voice will not go unheard. The silence you're experiencing now is not the end. It's simply part of a much greater journey that will lead to fulfillment and purpose in ways you may not yet understand. You may feel like your words are falling flat, but what you're not seeing is that God's timing is orchestrating something greater than you can imagine. His divine plan often moves at a pace that we cannot understand. People may be rejecting you now, but in God's perfect timing, your words will have the power to reach them, to heal them, to change them. This is where faith comes in. You have to trust that even when you are met with resistance, your words are still working in the Spirit. Even if you can't see the immediate results, God is using your words to plant seeds that will grow in their due season. The rejection you face now is simply a pause in the divine rhythm of life, not an end. Trust in the timing of God. His plan is perfect, and in His time, your words will bloom and bear fruit. Just like a tree doesn't bear fruit immediately after planting, your message may take time to take root in someone's life. This can be a hard truth to accept, especially when you see little to no immediate change. But rejection is often the beginning of growth, not the end. When you plant a seed in the ground, it doesn't immediately sprout and bear fruit. It takes time for the roots to grow deep, for the seed to be nourished, and for the fruit to eventually appear. The same is true for the words you speak. When you share wisdom, truth, or revelation, It may not bear fruit immediately, but in time, those words will take root in the hearts of others, and you will begin to see the fruit of your labor. Don't be discouraged by the absence of immediate results. God is at work in ways that you cannot always see. Even in the silence, even in the rejection, your words are being planted. They will not return void, but will accomplish the purpose for which they were sent. The natural world is full of examples of growth that take time. A seed, when planted in the soil, must go through a process of breaking down and reforming before it can grow into something beautiful and fruitful. Your words, too, go through a process. Just because you don't see immediate change doesn't mean nothing is happening. It simply means that the growth is happening beneath the surface, where it cannot yet be seen. Rejection is often the beginning of this process. The soil may not seem fertile at first, but your words are working in ways you cannot understand. They are preparing the ground, breaking up the hardness, and making room for the truth to grow. Eventually, you will see the results, just as a tree eventually bears fruit after a season of unseen growth. You may not always see the immediate impact of your words, but over time, as people reflect on what you've said, they will realize the truth of what you spoke. This delayed recognition is a part of God's process. It's a reminder that the impact of your words is not bound by human timelines. Over time, as people grow in their spiritual understanding and maturity, they will look back on what you said and recognize its truth. They may not have understood it when you first spoke it, but as they grow, the seeds you planted will begin to take root. Eventually, they will see that you were right all along. And when that happens, you will know that your words were not in vain. They were simply ahead of their time, waiting for the right moment to be fully understood. Rejection, as painful as it may feel in the moment, is often a sign of the profound depth you carry. It's not a reflection of your inadequacy, but of the spiritual weight of the words you speak. God's timing, though it may not always align with our expectations, is always perfect. Trust that your words are being planted in fertile soil, and though they may not bear fruit immediately, they will in time. There is a profound truth that you must embrace when you speak. It's not just your voice being heard, but God's Spirit speaking through you. Your words carry far more than mere thoughts or opinions. They are imbued with divine authority that transcends human understanding. Every word you speak, every truth you proclaim, is infused with the power of the Holy Spirit. It is not you speaking on your own. It is the divine will of God being revealed through your voice. This divine authority is not something you acquire or earn. It is a gift bestowed upon you when you are chosen and marked by God. From the moment you were called, the Spirit of the Lord came upon you, anointing you to speak with power, wisdom, and clarity. Your voice is no longer just a human instrument. It becomes a vessel for divine communication, carrying the weight of heaven with every word. What does this mean for you? It means that when you speak, you are not speaking from your own strength or wisdom. You are speaking on behalf of God, and this alone gives your words an incomparable authority. Whether you're speaking truth, offering encouragement, or delivering a warning, your voice becomes a powerful tool in God's hands. It's a tool designed to bring transformation, healing, and conviction to the hearts and minds of those who hear it. And because of this, your voice holds weight, spiritual weight that can't be ignored. When you speak, the authority within your voice often unsettles others, but not because of any arrogance or pride on your part. Rather, it is the Spirit within you that confronts the spirits within them. The divine authority you carry has the power to challenge, convict, and expose. It stirs the hearts of those around you, forcing them to either confront the truth you speak or resist it. This confrontation is not always comfortable. The truth you speak has the power to unsettle people, especially those who are not yet ready to receive it. They may feel uneasy, threatened, or convicted by your words because your voice carries something they cannot fully understand or accept. It forces them to confront parts of themselves they may not be ready to face, and this can lead to resistance. People may mock you, belittle you, or even ignore you outwardly, but deep down, they are unsettled by the authority of your words. This is why some will reject you, while others are drawn to you. The spirit within you creates a divide for those who are open and receptive to the truth. Your words are life and light. But for those who are still bound by darkness, your words are a threat. Your authority does not come from you, it comes from the Spirit of God, and that is what causes such strong reactions. The key here is to remember that the reactions of others do not define the value of your voice. Whether they acknowledge your authority or not, your words are still powerful. You must remain steadfast in your divine calling and continue to speak truth, even when the world around you rejects it. In time, the power of your words will reveal itself, and those who resisted will have no choice but to acknowledge the authority within them. It is a painful reality that many people will mock you or dismiss you when you speak. They may outwardly ignore the truth you offer, or even ridicule it. But understand this, their outward dismissal is not a reflection of the truth in your voice. In fact, it is often the opposite. When people mock or ignore you, it is because they are being confronted by something within themselves that they cannot easily dismiss. Your voice unsettles them because it carries a spiritual authority that they can't fully comprehend. What's happening in these moments is that your words are stirring the spirits within them. The authority in your voice challenges the spirits that dwell in their hearts, spirits of fear, doubt, pride, or unbelief. They may resist you outwardly, but inwardly, they are wrestling with the truth you speak. They cannot ignore the authority that comes with your words, no matter how much they try. It's easy to become discouraged when people mock or reject you. It's easy to question whether your words are having any impact. But remember this, the very fact that they are unsettled is a sign that your words are working. The Spirit of God is at work convicting and confronting them. Even if they are rejecting the truth for the moment, your words are still stirring something within them. And in time, that seed will grow. The authority of your voice will continue to resonate in their hearts, and they will be forced to reckon with it. This is the nature of divine authority. It doesn't seek validation from man. It doesn't require applause or recognition. It simply speaks the truth, and that truth will have its effect, whether immediately seen or not. You are called to speak, to release the truth, and to trust that God will do the rest. Even in their rejection, your words are still powerful. To fully understand the nature of spiritual authority in your voice, it's helpful to look at the examples of those who have gone before you. Throughout Scripture, we see numerous instances of people who were chosen by God to speak His truth, yet faced rejection and misunderstanding. Their authority came not from themselves, but from the Spirit of God, and their voices carried divine weight even when the world refused to listen. Jeremiah, often referred to as the weeping prophet, is a perfect example of someone who carried tremendous spiritual authority in his voice, yet faced consistent rejection. God called Jeremiah to speak his words to the people of Judah, warning them of impending destruction if they did not repent. But instead of listening, the people mocked and ignored him. They imprisoned him, persecuted him, and rejected his message. Despite this, Jeremiah remained faithful to his calling. His words, though rejected in the moment, were filled with divine authority, and they ultimately came to pass. Jeremiah's experience teaches us that spiritual authority is not defined by the acceptance of others. It is defined by faithfulness to God's call, even in the face of rejection. Like Jeremiah, you may face mockery and misunderstanding, but your authority is not diminished by the rejection of others. God's voice in you remains powerful, and His truth will not return void. Moses is another powerful example of divine authority. When God called Moses to deliver the Israelites from slavery in Egypt, Moses initially hesitated, doubting his ability to lead. But God assured him that he would empower him to speak with divine authority. Despite this, Moses was met with resistance from both Pharaoh and the Israelites themselves. Pharaoh mocked Moses and rejected his demands, while the Israelites doubted his ability to lead them to freedom. Yet Moses remained steadfast, speaking with the authority of God. And despite the resistance, God's will was fulfilled through Moses. The plagues fell upon Egypt, and the Israelites were delivered from bondage. Moses' spiritual authority did not come from his own strength, but from God's presence in him. His voice carried divine weight that could not be ignored, even though it was initially met with rejection. Moses' story reminds us that spiritual authority is not based on the world's approval, but on God's calling and presence. When God speaks through you, even those who resist will ultimately recognize the power of His word in your life. No example of spiritual authority is greater than that of Jesus Himself. The Son of God, fully divine and fully human, spoke with authority that shook the foundations of the earth. His words carried the weight of heaven, yet He was rejected by the very people He came to save. The religious leaders mocked Him, the crowds turned away, and even His disciples often misunderstood Him. Despite all of this, Jesus spoke with unwavering authority, knowing that His words were the truth of God. Jesus' authority was undeniable, yet it was met with resistance at every turn. He was mocked, beaten, and ultimately crucified by those who could not accept the divine truth He carried. But despite their rejection, Jesus' authority was vindicated through His resurrection. His words spoken with divine power transformed the world. Jesus' example teaches us that spiritual authority is not contingent on the world's response. When God's Spirit speaks through you, it doesn't matter how the world reacts. The truth will stand, and God's will be accomplished. Your authority, like Jesus, is backed by the power of the Creator, and it cannot be silenced. When you speak, know that you are speaking with divine authority. You are not just a messenger of human wisdom. You are a vessel for the truth of God. Your words carry the weight of heaven, and they have the power to transform, convict, and heal. People may reject you, mock you, or misunderstand you, but that does not diminish the authority of your voice. Just as God worked through Jeremiah, Moses, and Jesus, He will work through you. You carry the same divine authority that these great figures did, and your words, though rejected at times, will ultimately bear fruit. Trust in the authority you carry, and speak with boldness and faith, knowing that your voice is not your own. It is the voice of God speaking through you. Remember, your authority is not determined by human approval, but by divine calling. Even when you face rejection, your words are still powerful. And in God's perfect timing, your authority will be acknowledged. Have you ever found yourself speaking the truth, sharing your wisdom, or offering encouragement, only to be met with complete silence or rejection? It can feel incredibly discouraging when your words seem to fall flat, when the people you are speaking to don't acknowledge the depth of your message, or worse, when they seem to completely ignore it. It's easy in those moments to feel overlooked, as if your voice doesn't matter, or that your words are simply going unheard. But I want to share with you a powerful truth. Sometimes, God allows you to be ignored as part of His divine strategy. What if the silence you're facing isn't a sign of your failure? What if, in fact, it is a sign that God is at work, preparing you for something greater? The truth is being ignored can be a form of divine protection, a space where God shields you from the distractions and demands that would otherwise pull you away from your true calling. In His wisdom, God sometimes allows you to be overlooked in order to protect the purity of your purpose and to refine your spirit. You might wonder, how is being ignored a form of protection? Let me explain. There are times when the opinions of others or the approval of the world can distract you from the path God has set before you. In these moments, God steps in and, in His loving kindness, allows you to be ignored so that you don't become entangled in the praise or rejection of man. God wants you to find your validation in Him, not in human approval. By letting you experience silence or rejection, He teaches you to rely fully on His affirmation and not to seek external validation for the calling He has placed on your life. God knows the distractions that would arise if people immediately began to listen to your every word. He knows the temptation of pride that would creep in if you were constantly celebrated or admired. So in His wisdom, He sometimes allows you to be ignored or rejected to humble your heart and keep you grounded in His purpose for your life. This space of silence becomes a sanctuary where you learn to lean into God, trusting that His plan for your life is greater than any human praise or recognition. Being ignored teaches you humility because it forces you to relinquish the need for approval from the world. In the quiet moments of rejection, you are learning to depend solely on God's validation, which is far more powerful and enduring than anything the world can offer. Rejection becomes a lesson in patience, resilience, and trust in God's timing. It refines your character, shaping you into someone who speaks with authenticity, not for recognition, but because God has called you to do so. This divine silence can also be a form of preparation. God uses these moments to prepare your heart and your message. Just like a seed that needs time to grow beneath the soil before it can emerge as a tree, your words are being cultivated in the unseen. When the right time comes, your voice will be loud and clear, and those who were once blind to your message will finally see the depth and wisdom of your words. But for now, in this season of being ignored, you are being prepared for something greater. In the silence, God is refining you, teaching you to be patient, and encouraging you to trust His timing. Even when the world is quiet, He is at work shaping you into the person He has called you to be. Rejection isn't a setback. It's part of His strategy for your growth. And as you learn to endure trust and stay rooted in His purpose, you will emerge from this season stronger, wiser, and more attuned to His voice. One of the most powerful aspects of being ignored is that it can serve as divine redirection, a way for God to shift your focus and energy toward the people who are truly meant to hear your message. When you are rejected or ignored by certain individuals, it's easy to get discouraged and question the worth of what you have to say. But instead of seeing rejection as a sign of failure, consider it a divine intervention that prevents you from wasting your wisdom on people who are not yet ready to receive it. Rejection often redirects your energy away from people who are not prepared to hear your message and toward those who are. In those moments of silence, God is leading you to the right audience, people whose hearts are open, whose minds are ready to receive the wisdom you carry. This redirection can be difficult to accept because it may feel as though you are being rejected by the people you love or want to help the most. But understand this: not everyone is assigned to hear your voice at the moment you speak it. God's divine plan is far greater than human understanding. He knows which hearts are ready to hear the truth and which are still closed. And while it may feel painful to be ignored by those you care about, know that God is protecting both you and them. He's protecting your wisdom from being misunderstood, misused, or rejected prematurely. He's also protecting them from hearing something they are not yet ready to receive, because sometimes the timing of the message is just as important as the message itself. God redirects your energy so you can focus on those who are meant to hear you, those who will take your words to heart and let them transform their lives. There is a divine timing to everything, and not everyone is ready for what you carry. This redirection is not a loss, but a gain. It allows you to pour into the lives of those whose hearts are already open, whose spirits are hungry for the truth, and whose lives will be changed by the wisdom you share. Think about the story of Jesus' ministry. When he first began to speak the truth, he faced rejection from many. The Pharisees mocked him, the crowds misunderstood him, and even his own disciples didn't fully grasp the depth of his message. But despite the rejection he faced in his hometown and beyond, Jesus did not stop speaking. He moved forward, taking his message to those who were ready to hear it. God used that rejection to push him toward the people who were spiritually prepared to receive his words, those who would be forever changed by the truth he spoke. Similarly, Paul's ministry faced significant rejection. He was often ignored, ridiculed, and even imprisoned for his message. Yet, his rejection by certain groups was a divine redirection, causing him to focus his energy on the churches and communities that were ready to hear the gospel. God used those moments of rejection to position Paul in places where his words would have the greatest impact, and ultimately, his letters continue to shape the Christian faith to this day. You may find yourself feeling overlooked, rejected, or dismissed. But understand that this is not the end of your journey. It is simply part of God's divine redirection. Rejection is not a reflection of your worth or the truth of your message. Instead, it is a tool that God uses to guide you toward the people, communities, and moments where your words will truly bear fruit. God is not only protecting you, but He is also protecting your message, ensuring that it reaches the right hearts at the right time. When God redirects your energy, it may feel like you are being shut out, but in reality, He is positioning you for a deeper and more meaningful impact. Trust in His divine redirection. It may seem like rejection in the moment, but it is actually God's way of ensuring that your words are not wasted. Your wisdom is precious, and there are people out there who are waiting to hear exactly what you have to say. God is guiding you to them. Another important truth about rejection is that it saves you from wasting your wisdom on those who are not ready for it. You may feel as though your words are falling on deaf ears, or that you are speaking into an empty void. But in reality, this rejection is a divine protection. When people are not ready to receive your words, they cannot truly appreciate or benefit from the wisdom you carry. Think about the parable of the seeds and the soil. Some seeds fall on rocky ground, some on thorny ground, and some on fertile soil. The seeds that fall on rocky or thorny ground are rejected and never take root, while the seeds that fall on fertile soil grow and bear fruit. Similarly, your words, your wisdom, and your insights are seeds that need fertile soil to grow. Rejection by those who are not ready to hear you is simply a sign that they are not the right soil for your message. God knows which hearts are fertile and ready to receive the seeds of wisdom you carry. And while it may be difficult to accept rejection by the wrong people, allows you to focus on those who are ready to hear and grow. You don't have to waste your time, energy, or words on those who are not prepared to receive them. Instead, God redirects your focus toward people who will hear, understand, and apply the wisdom you offer. This is not to say that you should give up on those who are currently rejecting your message. Rather, it is a reminder that God has a divine plan for your words and your wisdom. He will bring the right people into your life at the right time, and He will ensure that your words are not wasted. In the meantime, trust that the rejection you face is part of His greater strategy, protecting both you and the message He has entrusted to you. The purpose behind being ignored is far deeper than mere rejection. It is a divine strategy of protection, preparation, and redirection. God uses silence to teach you humility, discernment, and to help you depend on His validation, not human approval. In times of rejection, He is refining your character and preparing you for a greater impact in His perfect timing. trust in the process, and know that your words are not wasted. God is guiding you to the right audience, and in His time, your message will bear fruit. Embrace this season knowing that divine redirection is leading you toward the people who are truly meant to hear and be transformed by your wisdom. In those moments when your words are ignored, when your truth is dismissed, and when you are left standing in silence, it can be hard to imagine a time when your voice will be heard. It can be difficult to believe that one day the rejection you're facing will be replaced by recognition. But I want to remind you of something that is absolutely true. The season of being ignored will eventually give way to a season of recognition. This is not just wishful thinking or hopeful optimism. This is the nature of divine timing. Rejection is not permanent. God has ordained a time for your voice to be heard, for your wisdom to be acknowledged, and for your authority to be undeniable. Just like the great figures in Scripture who faced rejection and were later vindicated, you too will see a time when your words will be sought after and your authority will be recognized by all. The silence you are experiencing is not a reflection of your value, but a preparation for something greater. God uses this time of being overlooked to refine your character and to build your resilience. You are not being ignored because you are insignificant. You are being prepared for the moment when you will speak with undeniable authority, and your words will carry the weight of heaven. When your time of vindication arrives, it will be unmistakable. Just as the prophets of old were proven true in the fullness of time, your words, your prophecies, your warnings, and your encouragement will manifest, and they will prove the truth of your message. The same people who once dismissed you will turn around and acknowledge the wisdom and authority that you carried all along. This is not a matter of arrogance or vindication for your own sake. It is God's truth being made manifest through you. Your voice will be a beacon of divine revelation, and the world will recognize it for what it is. The Bible is full of stories of men and women who endured seasons of rejection only to be elevated at the right moment. Their time of vindication came in God's perfect timing, and the truth of their words was revealed to all. This will be true for you as well. The wait is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that God is preparing you for something extraordinary. The time when your voice will no longer be ignored is coming, and when it arrives, it will be clear that you were always meant to be heard. Think about Noah, a man who was mocked and ridiculed for building an ark in the middle of a dry land. People laughed at his warnings, dismissed his prophecies, and never believed that what he was saying could be true. For years he preached repentance and warned of the coming flood, but no one took him seriously. Yet, when the flood waters began to rise, the truth of his words became undeniable. Noah's rejection was not a reflection of his message's validity. It was simply a part of the divine timing that God had ordained for his life. Similarly, Jeremiah was rejected by the very people he was trying to save. He was imprisoned, beaten, and despised for speaking the words of God, yet his words were ultimately proven to be true. He was mocked for his warnings, but in the end, he stood as a true prophet of God, and the truth he spoke became the very salvation of the nation. Jesus himself is the ultimate example of divine vindication. Rejected by his own people, mocked, betrayed, and ultimately crucified, Jesus' words were not fully understood or accepted in his lifetime. But through his resurrection, the truth of his words was undeniably revealed to the world. What was once considered blasphemy became the foundation of the Christian faith. Jesus' rejection was a prelude to his elevation, and in his exaltation, the truth of his words became evident to all. Just as these biblical figures faced rejection, you too will experience a time of vindication and elevation. The very words that were ignored, the truths that were dismissed, and the wisdom that was undervalued will be revealed for what they truly are. Your elevation is not a matter of your worth being proved, it is a matter of divine timing. God will bring the right people into your life at the right moment, and when that time comes, your voice will carry the full weight of divine authority. You will not need to prove yourself. Your words will do the proving for you. The time of vindication that awaits you is a testament not to your human effort, but to God's faithfulness. It is His truth spoken through you that will be made known to all. Your elevation will come when God's timing is perfect, when the hearts and minds of those who have rejected you are finally open to receive what you have been saying all along. One of the most powerful aspects of vindication is that the words you have spoken, whether prophecies, warnings, or encouragements, will eventually come to pass. Your message, though ignored or dismissed in the moment, will prove to be the truth that changes lives. Consider the many times you've shared prophetic words, offered warnings to those you care about, or shared words of encouragement that seemed to fall on deaf ears. You may have wondered if your words had any impact at all. But let me tell you this: those words were never wasted. Even though they may have been ignored, they were planted in the hearts of those who were meant to hear them. The seed was sown, and though it may have seemed like nothing was happening, that seed was growing, being nurtured, and waiting for the right time to bear fruit. There is a divine purpose in every word you speak. Even when people seem indifferent or dismissive, God is working behind the scenes to bring those words to fruition. Prophecies spoken in faith, warnings shared with love, and words of encouragement offered in trust will manifest in ways that you may not immediately see. But in God's perfect timing, the truth of your words will come to light. Think about Joseph. When he shared his dreams with his brothers, they mocked him and rejected him. His dreams seemed so far removed from their reality that they could not understand or appreciate them. But those very dreams came to pass when Joseph rose to power in Egypt, and his brothers, who once rejected him, came to him for help during a time of famine. The truth of Joseph's dreams and words was not evident in the moment, but in God's perfect timing, it was proven true. Your words, too, will prove to be true. The prophecies you have shared will come to pass. The warnings you gave will be acknowledged, and the encouragement you offered will bring healing and transformation. When this happens, it will not be for your own glory, but for God's glory. The manifestation of these words will serve as a testimony of His faithfulness, and it will prove to those who once ignored you that God's truth spoken through you is undeniable. I want to declare this over your life today: your voice will not remain hidden forever. A time is coming when your words will no longer be ignored, and when that time arrives, it will be a moment of divine vindication. You may feel like you are invisible right now, like no one is listening. But trust that God is working behind the scenes. He is preparing the hearts and minds of those who need to hear your words. When the appointed time comes, your voice will be heard. Your authority will be undeniable. The shift is coming. Your words once dismissed will be sought after. You will no longer have to fight for attention or recognition. God Himself will elevate your voice and bring you into the right places at the right time, where your words will be received and your authority will be acknowledged. Just as Jesus was vindicated after His death, you too will experience the power of God's timing. Your words will bear fruit, and the truth you've spoken will change lives. I speak this with boldness. Your season of being overlooked is coming to an end. The rejection you've faced has not diminished the truth in your voice. It has only made it stronger. And when the right time comes, God will amplify your words, and they will be received by those who are ready to hear them. Do not despair, for your time of vindication is near. In this moment of quiet, continue to speak. Continue to trust that God's timing is perfect. Continue to believe that your words are making an impact, even if you cannot see it yet. for in God's perfect timing, your voice will be heard, and the world will know the truth you've carried all along. The time of vindication and elevation is not a matter of your worth or your effort. It is a matter of God's perfect timing. In the season of silence, trust that He is preparing you for something greater. The rejection you face today is simply a stepping stone to the recognition you will experience in the future. Keep speaking with boldness, knowing that God is positioning you for a moment when your words will carry the weight of heaven and your authority will be undeniable. Your time of vindication is coming, and when it does, it will be a powerful testament to the truth that God has been speaking through you all along. As you stand in this season of being ignored, rejected, or overlooked, it's important to remember this one undeniable truth. Your rejection is not the end of your story. The silence you feel around you, the dismissals and the misunderstandings are not signs that your words have no value. Instead, they are part of the process, a process that is shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for something far greater than you can see in the moment. There is an ancient truth that we find woven through Scripture, from the lives of the prophets to the journey of Jesus himself. Rejection is not a reflection of your worth or the truth you carry. It is simply a tool in God's divine plan to refine and elevate you. The rejection you face is a crucible shaping your character, strengthening your spirit, and deepening your trust in God's timing. It's not a punishment. It's part of the preparation for the fulfillment of the purpose God has placed on your life. You may feel discouraged when your voice goes unheard, but let me assure you that your words carry eternal weight. The truth you speak, the wisdom you offer, the encouragement you give, these are not fleeting things. They are seeds planted in the hearts of those who are ready to receive them. Even if those seeds aren't sprouting right now, they are being watered, nurtured, and prepared for a time when they will bear fruit. In God's timing, your words will not return void. They will accomplish the purpose for which they were sent. It can be easy to question whether it's worth speaking when it feels like no one is listening, but I urge you to keep speaking anyway. Even when you're ignored, your voice still carries power. Even in silence, your words are stirring hearts in the spiritual realm, preparing the ground for transformation. Don't let rejection silence you. Keep speaking, knowing that your voice is part of God's divine plan, and it will fulfill its purpose at the right time. The process of being ignored is not the end of your journey. It's part of the story that leads to your elevation and vindication. Your words have weight, eternal weight, because you speak the truth of the Almighty. And though others may not understand it, does not diminish the significance of what you carry. This is why you must not grow weary. The rejection, the silence, the dismissal, they are not the end. They are the stepping stones to your elevation. Trust that God is using this time to prepare you for what's to come. He is aligning the right people, the right moment, and the right circumstances. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared for greatness. I want to invite you to stand boldly today. Declare that your voice will not be silenced by rejection. Speak it out in faith, knowing that your words are not empty, and your calling is not in vain. Even if the world is quiet, even if the people around you don't understand, know that God has anointed your voice for this moment and for the moments to come. Speak truth, speak wisdom, speak with the boldness that comes from the Spirit of God within you. I encourage you to subscribe to this message because this journey of growth, of speaking with authority, and of enduring the silence is one we walk together. Stay connected, for this message will continue to uplift, encourage, and remind you of the eternal weight of your words. Take a moment to comment below and declare that your voice will not be silenced. Share how you've experienced rejection and how you've seen God's timing at work in your life. Let others know that you are standing firm in your calling and that you will speak the truth, no matter the opposition. And share this message with others who need to hear it. There are many people just like you who feel unseen, unheard, and rejected. Your words may be the encouragement they need to keep speaking and keep trusting that their voices are not wasted. Together we will rise, we will speak, and we will be heard. You are not alone. You are a part of a greater movement. Your words are powerful, and they are meant to change the world. Don't let rejection make you shrink back. Let it propel you forward, knowing that your time of vindication is coming. Your voice will be heard, your wisdom will be acknowledged, and your authority will be recognized. Hold on to this truth with unwavering faith, for your journey has only just begun.